Hey, what's up? This is Sully from Godsmack. Strap on those boots, baby, because you are now in the trenches of the war room with the one and only Mistress Carrie right here on the Mistress Carrie podcast.
What's up? This is Joe Rogan, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Her hair so lovely, pretty eyes.
Hey, this is Brent from Shinedown, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie. Hey, Carrie, go put your bra on, girl.
Hey, this is Steven Tyler, and you be listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
What's up? This is Aaron from Stain, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and you're listening to the one, the only Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is David from the band Disturbed, and you're listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
Hi, Bruce Dickinson here from Iron Maiden. Yes, indeed, Miss Whiplash herself, Mistress Carrie, is here to unchain your brain.
Hi, this is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You're listening to Mistress Carrie.
This is Dennis Leary. You are listening to my favorite, Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is Corey from Stone Sour, and you have the privilege of listening to Mistress Carrie. Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Mistress Carrie, reporting for duty from MCHQ for episode 222 of the Mistress Carrie podcast. And before we get to this week's guest, Dorothy, I want to remind you that the Mistress Carrie Birthday Bash is happening Saturday night, September 28th at Rascals in Worcester, Massachusetts. Music provided by Rotten Apple, a tribute to Alice in Chains, and Justin Jordan. 100 FM The Pike is presenting the show. It's 21 plus, and tickets are on sale now. That's Saturday night, September 28th at Rascals in Worcester, Massachusetts. Check the concert calendar at mistresscarrie.com for the link to get your tickets, and I'll see you there. I'll be the one in the birthday hat. My guest this week is Dorothy, who returns to the show after her first appearance on episode 99. Dorothy has got her brand new single out right now called Mud, and a new album that's in the works that should be out after the new year. She's also been featured on collaborations in the last year with Scott Stapp, Nita Strauss, Slash, and Stained. I caught up with Dorothy to talk about the progress of her upcoming new album and working with the Four Horsemen in Nashville, including songwriter and producer Scott Stevens, who we had on the show not too long ago. We also talked about her numerous collaborations. She is one of the busiest women in rock and roll, and I am so happy that she's back on the show. So allow me to reintroduce you to Dorothy. Aw, Dorothy's in the house.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm highly caffeinated.
Oh, me too. Cheers.
Cheers.
I seem to spend quality coffee drinking time with everybody that comes on the show recently.
And well, this is Pedialyte, but I drank all my caffeine and now I'm hydrating.
You know who taught me to drink Pedialyte? Dimebag Darrell and Vinnie Paul.
I mean, hey, I would take it from them, right?
They liked the grape one, but I remember distinctly on that Tattoo the Earth tour years ago, early 2000s, maybe it was 2000, I ended up backstage at a show with Slipknot, and we were just drinking alcohol in the Pedialyte to cut out the middleman.
Perfect.
Yeah, those late 90s, early 2000 years were a bit much.
They were a bit of a blur.
Yeah. And now they market Pedialyte for adults. Back then, it wasn't like that at all. And now it's actually the commercials, like the parents all hung over in the kitchen. I'll buy you a pony, kid.
No, they don't. I haven't seen that commercial for real.
Yes, they do. I almost fell over when I saw it. I was like, I thought Dimebag Darrell and Vinnie Paul were like way ahead of the curve. And now Pedialyte has just gone full on and they're like, we know hungover parents are drinking it too. We're going to advertise to them.
That's so funny.
Which Pedialyte do you like?
Strawberry.
Ah, and you're just doing it to stay hydrated because you're sober, so you're not even drinking.
I am. I'm getting over like a cold flu thing. And I just decided all the medicine, all the Pedialyte, just throw the kitchen sink at it, get it out of here.
Absolutely. It's so good to see you. Thank you for coming back on the show.
Oh, of course. My pleasure.
Do your ears ring when people talk about you? Because I feel like I have been talking about you nonstop recently.
They do not. Only when I listen to music too loud.
Well, I have to run down the list of all of the reasons why I've been talking about you recently.
Oh, give it to me.
So I had Scott Stevens on the show recently talking about songwriting and collaborating. He even like went into the weeds because a lot of people that listen to the show don't understand like how royalties work and like points on a record and songwriting credits. He talked about all of that kind of stuff. It was really interesting.
Oh, dude, he's super smart. Whenever I'm stuck on anything, I call him and I ask him for advice. You know, I don't even know really 100% how all that works. I'm still learning, and I've been in the industry over a decade. So, you know, but I try to focus on the creative part.
Well, he did the interview in the studio in California where you guys work on a lot of songs together. And he specifically was talking about you guys getting in a room and kind of hashing out ideas and that you collaborate really well together.
Oh, yeah. He came along at the end of my last record with Rest in Peace. And I'm like, yeah, I want this guy to do my next record. So we went to Nashville and we started writing all these songs for The Way. And I got to work with like Kylie Sackley and Marty Fredrickson and the Four Horsemen. And it's like we have this big family that all commingles and exists together. So he's an awesome producer, and he gets it because he used to be an artist. So he's protective of the artists that he works with.
Well, now the X's are back too. Like the band is back together and playing shows.
I love their new songs.
Yeah.
I remember when My Goddess was on the radio. I mean, I had to be in high school maybe. It's been a minute, but yeah, I was an X's fan, and so it's great to have a producer that's an artist too, because they're empathetic to what artists go through.
Well, I've had two of the Four Horsemen on the show because I've known Zach Malloy forever because of the Nixons. And I love talking to people about that kind of collaborative process because you've known me long enough to know this voice doesn't sing. And
I don't know. I think you could do it.
Honey, if I had any semblance of key or pitch, maybe.
Give me a straw and a bottle of water and I'll teach you how to sing. I know some tricks. I'm serious.
And I'm so envious of how songwriters kind of make a song from nothing. And so when you go into a room with somebody like Scott Stevens and you guys are just going to hash out song ideas, that relationship, that closeness, that vulnerability is something that you don't just find anywhere.
It's a scary and exciting process because you know you're going to get something. And when it drops out of the atmosphere, like, you know it, but you don't know if it's going to be good or not. So the days where you catch like lightning in a bottle are very exciting. But then there's also days where you're kind of like beating your head against the wall. Like, why do I have writer's block? You know? And it's almost like making something out of nothing. It's almost like you're channeling a message. Sometimes if it's a good song, it's got a good message, you know?
I talked to Slash a few weeks ago, and we talked about this passion project of Orgy of the Damned and how much he loves blues music. And when they announced the record and announced all the rock stars making guest appearances, I was not surprised for 1 second that your name was in the credits too.
Oh, and Demi Lovato too. I was like, dang, she killed that. You know, she really did. And that song actually makes me want to do an even deeper deep dive into the blues, because I grew up listening to blues and gospel and everything that I could get my hands on. But now I really want, you know, it's kind of reignited the blues passion.
It really is a testament to the roots of rock and roll. When you get all these rock stars together to pay tribute to these songs that Slash says really molded him as an artist. Mm-hmm. And he talked about being nervous cold calling the musicians that are on it like he doesn't know he's Slash.
He is so cool and humble. You don't even know he's Slash. Like when you're talking to him, you're like, man, he's just really cool. And I think it was easy because we asked him how did it happen? I want to know. I want to try to remember how this came about. I know I'd asked him to come to the Troubadour and, you know, rip guitar on Gifts from the Holy Ghost when we played the Troubadour. So it was all around the same time. Oh, that's right. I did a tribute. I did a Triumph tribute with Mike Klink. That's how it happened. And then it kind of snowballed from there. And then it was the Troubadour. And then he's like, do you want to do this blues song? So, and there might be more to come, but I'm not sure. I can't confirm or deny that yet.
I saw video of you on YouTube singing the song with Slash. Was it in New York that you jumped on stage with him?
Yeah, that was not that long ago. That was quite recently.
The tour is really cool, and he's so passionate when he talks about the blues, and you're talking about really being inspired by that. He said to this day, his favorite artist is B.B. King. So when it comes to blues and gospel, who's yours?
I really like Vicki Winans' voice as far as gospel. I mean, she has just crazy swagger and attitude. As far as voices go, like Aretha Franklin, because of her gospel roots, was really big for me growing up. And even like Janis Joplin, and bands like Creedence Clearwater Revival that are heavily blues influenced were a big part of my sonic landscape growing up.
Every once in a while, the interwebs kind of recycles, and that performance of Aretha doing Nessun Dorma in place of Pavarotti on the Grammys, it just I don't know where a voice like that comes from, but it drove right by my house.
Oh man, probably from heaven. I would imagine a voice like that comes along once in a blue moon from heaven.
Seriously.
Beautiful.
And some of the other collaborations, reasons I've been talking about you, collaborating with Scott Stapp and Stained. You're like everywhere.
I don't know. It was it was like the year of collaborations, and it kind of lined up at the right time because I took a little break, and then I got into a 4th album cycle. So it got me along as I was writing. So yeah, it's been and Nita Strauss, who did that Victorious song. Which is cool. So yeah, there's been a lot of collaborations this year, and I mean, I'll always be doing collaborations. I really love the Jacoby Carrie Underwood mashup. So good.
It's so good, and I feel like it's something that pop and hip hop has done for a long time, but rock musicians very rarely were doing collabs like that, where they were guesting on each other's songs, not like they are now. Now it seems like everybody's doing them.
And it's happening with country, which I'm so excited about because, Scott Stevens and I were talking about this a couple years ago. Like, there's going to be this country wave that happens, and we were right. And I've always said it's like the sister genre to rock. So it just makes sense. I'm glad that they're kind of mixing it up and mingling together now. It's about damn time.
Well, it's something that was inevitable because of the rock invasion that happened in Nashville, which comes up on the show all the time because there's so many bands recording there, so many studios, producers, songwriting sessions. All of this music is coming out of Nashville, and growing up in the Northeast, my thought when someone said Nashville, and I was totally wrong, but that there would be long-horned cows and belt buckles. That's what I thought Nashville was like, because I always thought that that's where country music comes from. And then a couple years ago, I went, and I was like, no, this is just a music town. This isn't.
I think a lot of LA rock people might have moved there. And
they have.
Yeah, it's gonna affect the culture.
Yeah, a lot of people move there for just, ease of touring. I guess all the buses are there. So many of the gear companies are there. It just kind of made it centrally located for people that wanted to get out of California and kind of have a farm and a family life.
And chickens.
Yeah. Do you have chickens?
I wish. I will one day. That's the plan. That's the dream, is to build a little homestead and have, a cat run and chickens. You know what I'm saying?
Nobody's told me that a life goal was a cat run on the show before. I think you're the first one.
Childless cat lady, here to the rescue.
The chicken thing I totally get, but where I live, because I'm kind of up in the woods, I would be so heartbroken. I have a predator situation outside. And if something came and slaughtered all my chickens, it would be like a John Wick situation for me. I wouldn't be able to control my rage.
What kind of predators are we talking about here? Like Wolfman? What?
No, but we got coyotes, fox, bear, You know, raccoons eat chickens. Like, you really got to lock those things down.
Chickens, but they're so cute. I can't imagine them eating chickens. That's funny.
Raccoons eat chickens, and look, I think they're adorable, but raccoons are little fucks.
I didn't know they were so vicious. Damn.
Yeah, and they got little thumbs so they can unlock doors and shit. You don't be fooled by their cute little trash panda faces. They wreak havoc.
That's crazy. Well, fuck those raccoons. Yeah.
The quote of the episode, Dorothy says, fuck those raccoons, she says. I always wanted to have a little farm, like a mini farm. So I'd have a mini farmhouse and I would have a miniature donkey and those little mini fainting goats and the little mini horses. Like, I wanted all the mini farm animals.
And then you just bring people to your farm and give them acid and shrooms and go have fun. That sounds like a nightmare. A cute nightmare.
Just super little, like, who doesn't want a mini donkey? Have you seen the little pajama wearing mini goats on YouTube? How do you not want a bunch of those?
The little horses are what get me. They're so cute.
But everybody knows that if I ever won like Powerball, I would have a grumble of pugs. That's what it's called. When you have a grumble, that's when you have a bunch of pugs, like a herd of pugs is called a grumble. That's how you'll know when I win Powerball.
Won the Powerball.
Yeah. There will be signs. All right, we got to talk music. Mud is out now, but the record is coming out next year.
The record is coming out, I don't know when, but soon. I just don't have a date because I'm trying to wrangle. It's like herding cats, you know, like getting everyone on the same page. But it is coming soon. I would say definitely at the latest early next year. I'm going to drop another song or two before the end of the year. But so far, I mean, Mud is off to a really great start. I'm shocked. I mean, it's been out for 2 weeks and we're top 20. And I'm hitting every radio station I can and just, you know, shaking hands and the reception's been really great. And I'm excited. I'm glad the fans love it. It's one of the most weird wild card songs on the record. And I was like, yeah, we should put that out first, you know?
Why do you say you're shocked, though? Like, why are you surprised that you release a new song and it's successful right out of the gate?
Because you just want, you know, well, you want to stay humble and you also want to, like, you know, have your wits about you and hope that what you put out is good, you know? And so it's good. It's humbling. It's nice to see a good reaction from fans.
When you're putting together an album, which a lot of artists are talking now about it not being a priority, that they're going to release singles or maybe multiple EPs. But when you're putting an album, a body of work together, was it a goal from the beginning to release a full album, or were you just in this creative vein where the songs were just coming and you had to put an album out?
No, yeah, I always aim for an album because I'm a 90s kid and I loved going and buying the CD and having the tangible experience, opening the booklet and reading all the lyrics and looking at the art. So I'm very hands-on with the art and the layout and what the CD and the vinyl looks like. And is there a special insert and a surprise for the fans? So I always aim to do at least an album because it's a body of work. And since we're in a digital era, you know, you can drop song after song after song and you can drop an album and then you can drop more extra songs that aren't even on the album after that. Like, there's not really any rules, but because you want a physical product and something special that's like a gem or a keepsake for fans to take home, that it's always good to have a record or a CD or a cassette for them to have, you know?
The fact that cassettes are back still blows my mind. Vinyl doesn't shock me that it's back. The cassette thing, I'm still trying to wrap my brain around.
No, I know. I just had to look through my color options on the cassette, and there's some cool little variants they do. So, I mean, I had cassettes when I was like a little kid, and I always ended up destroying them because I wanted to rip the tape out. It was just so satisfying. So I'm glad CDs came along because then I was able to listen to music.
Do you still have the vinyl that you had as a kid? Like, I inherited all my mom's vinyl. Yeah. I still have all that vinyl. Do you still have all yours?
I have most of them. I have, like, when Thriller came out, that era, like that year, I have my dad's old Fleetwood Mac, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Pink Floyd, Michael Jackson. He had tons of too much Bob Dylan, too much. Simon and Garfunkel, lots of folk music. I mean, I kept the gems like Rumors, Fleetwood Mac. I kept all the gems, but then there was a lot of other ones that I just wasn't so much into, and they, they're heavy and they take up space and they collect dust. So I gave them to someone who really appreciates them to hold on to.
Oh, there you go. It's one of those things where everybody vowed vinyl wasn't coming back, and now they're outselling CDs for the first time in over 30 years.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah, last year was the first year that vinyl outsold CDs for the first, in 30 years. Vinyl is back. You know what they're selling now, which I was shocked about? Those big consoles from the 70s that had the turntable and the 8-track and the radio. I still have my mom's. That was like a piece of furniture. They're making those again so people have a place to play their vinyl, which is so cool.
No, what I think it is, it's just a boomerang effect of people being kind of sick of their phones. And they want to experience life the way we did in the 90s or the 80s or, whatever. So it might be just a reaction to that.
The 30th anniversary of Woodstock 94 is happening right now, and I was there. And so I've been looking at all of these old YouTube videos, and it's so weird to see a crowd of people at a concert with nobody with a smartphone in the air. It's really weird.
Is it because they don't allow it, or just people aren't?
No, Woodstock 94, they didn't exist.
Oh, 94. Oh, I thought you said it's happening right now.
No. The 30th anniversary of Woodstock 94 is this week. And so I'm looking at all these old videos from 94, and there's no smartphones in the crowd. People just enjoying the shows. It's crazy.
And people are present. Yeah, it's a totally different experience.
With this new album, are there going to be collabs on there that you're asking people to be on your record now?
There's a feature on there.
Interesting. Any gossip? Any hints?
No.
Oh, come on.
No. It kind of makes sense though. It's like it made sense to do. So I think the song actually is what's going to surprise people. I think they're going to be like, wow, this is out of left field, but I like it. We were very eclectic and courageous with the genre blending on this record, but it still works because it's still very heavy. Actually, it's the heaviest album with some of the heaviest songs, but there's a nice blend of different genres in there that work together. And I think fans will really, we did not forget our hard rock fans on this, but I think they'll enjoy that we took some risks.
The last time you were on the show was in April of 2022, and you and I spent a lot of time talking about this wave of women in rock. And just since the last time you were on the show, that wave has gotten 3 times as tall and 10 times as powerful.
There's been an explosion of females. Good.
It's great. It's about freaking time.
Yeah. Yeah, girls rock.
And when I talk to younger artists and artists about the women that are really kind of leading the charge, obviously your name comes up there all the time because of this powerful voice that, it comes out of your marrow.
I love that. I'm keeping that. It comes from my bones.
But it does, though. As somebody, like I said, that can't sing, I'm so envious because you just open your mouth and it just kind of shows up.
Well, it's like a muscle. I had to train and work it. But then the passion is what comes from trauma and from life. So it's like physical and spiritual, which is crazy. But yeah, I couldn't have done it without girls like Lizzie Hale and Maria Brink and all these wonderful. And then, Janis Joplin and Aretha and the old greats too. They're like, I was like, oh, if they can do it, maybe I can do it. They gave me something to learn from and get in my spirit and listen to and get it in my marrow so that it could come out in a unique and personal way. But I'm glad that there's more girls entering the rock scene. The Warning is really cool. They're a great band. They're really cool.
I had them on the show. They were so nice and cool and just awesome.
Yeah, I got to meet them on Shiprocked. Very, very sweet girls.
I have heard crazy stories about Shiprocked. I have not been on it yet, but all the bands are just like, you've never experienced anything like it.
It was interesting. It's noisy. It's raucous. I would be like one of the only people in the gym. They do have recovery meetings, which is funny, for people who want to go do a 12-step meeting. But it was great. I had a great experience. The shows were great. And we got to hang out with a lot of the other bands and connect with them. And the food was great. So, I'm in the dining room most of the time, probably eating. But it was fun. It was a good experience.
You talk about training your voice. And obviously, we all just heard the news recently that Steven Tyler's vocal cords are permanently damaged and Aerosmith has to retire from touring. Talk to me about the conscious effort for you on a daily basis to protect your voice, because it's got to be something that is top of mind for you all the time.
Well, yeah, if you think about it, you're like an athlete. And so you have to warm up, cool down, and you have to, hold on. Sorry. You have to like warm up, cool down, stay hydrated, be healthy, don't do drugs and alcohol, don't smoke, and also have grace for yourself and be patient, because it's a human instrument. So it's not like a guitar you can just tune and change the strings on. And athletes have to retire after a certain amount of time on the field, right? So I think Steven, God bless him, he's had an incredible run. I mean, it's sad, but he's in the good old days, and he's given us so much great music, and his vocals are insane, and killer. And I appreciate what he's given to the music world with his talent. But, it's unfortunate people get injured and things happen. And so you just have to be careful and treat it like a human instrument and not abuse it.
Arguably one of the most copied stage looks when it comes to dressing up as a rock star for Halloween. I'm a huge Halloween junkie. We're getting into Halloween season. What is the go-to Dorothy Halloween costume, or your favorite costume from childhood?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I was going to be Celine from Underworld, but I went to rehab instead. I checked in on Halloween and I didn't get to dress up. So, but now I just like to carve pumpkins and drink pumpkin spice lattes and enjoy the fall. And I mean, I like dress up every time I go on stage. So it's kind of part of my job.
You could put like a pinstriped business suit on and that would be your Halloween costume.
I'll just be Nancy from Human Resources, from HR. This year I'm going as Sharon from HR, and I have a bone to pick with you. And I got my suit on, and I have my Starbucks, and I have a framed picture of my cat, and you're in trouble.
What about when you were a kid? What was your best Halloween costume? Best Halloween memory?
My gosh, don't remember. I remember when I was little in Germany, because I was born in Budapest and then I went to preschool in Germany. We made these wax paper lanterns, and I drew like a star, like stars and a moon, and then we would put a real candle in it. So you're giving a toddler a wax paper lantern on a string with a flame candle inside. Like, what could go wrong?
What could go wrong? No, nothing.
And then we all went, and I remember my mother was with me. It's one of my best memories and most tragic, because everything is so dramatic at that age. So we went out in the woods with our wax paper lanterns, and I was stoked. I was so excited. I'm running around with a stick. And of course I tripped and fell, and the whole thing burst into flames, and I had a meltdown. But I just remember, like, it was so cool to be in the woods at night with a real lantern, and then also almost burn the forest down. It was a weird childhood memory.
If you won't tell me when the record's coming out, can you give me a hint about the touring plans to support said record that's coming out? Like, what's the plan for the rest of this year and into early 2025?
Am I allowed to talk about that? I mean, right now I've got a couple shows with Godsmack in October. We're opening for Creed at the end of the month. which is sweet. And then next year we'll be touring. We'll just see what comes across my plate. And I'm sure we'll be headlining too. So
it's so crazy how so much has come back, like the new metal era. A few years ago, if you had said Creed is going to get back together and go out on the road, be in a Super Bowl commercial and be bigger than ever, people would have been like, there's just no way.
Totally way. I've been waiting.
It's unbelievable what's going on with those guys right now. And Scott Stapp balancing his solo stuff. Mark Tremonti's got his other bands. It's like, you can't get away from those guys right now.
Yeah, no, it's awesome that there's this resurgence, and I mean, one of my favorite bands growing up too. So I'm stoked. You know, my 16-year-old self is having a celebration right now. It's very fun.
I talked to Sonny Sandoval from POD, and his son's really mad at him for throwing out all his Jenko jeans because they'd be worth so much money from the 90s if he didn't.
Oh, are they trending again?
Oh yeah, they're back in a big way. The late 90s, all of it's just coming back.
Are those like the big baggy raver jeans? Oh, Lord have mercy.
It's all coming back, Dorothy. I'm so glad that the 80s permed giant Aquanet hair has not come back because I can't do what I used to do. It doesn't do that anymore.
I think your hair looks great. It's really cool.
I've tried to do it for Halloween and it doesn't work. I don't know how I used to do it back in the late 80s. I have no clue.
Did you actually get permed?
Oh, please. Of course.
To grow that shit out. You got to grow it out.
Yeah. I'd have to get the layers cut back in and then get a perm and the pick with the Aquanet. Yeah, I'm not doing that again.
Maybe I'll do that on my next album cycle.
The big 80s hair. Oh, I dare you. I will send you my high school yearbook picture so you can feel the pain of mine was spherical. It was big in all directions.
It was pro.
Yeah. It was I had to duck getting into a vehicle. That's how big it was.
That's funny. I'm going to try to bring that back.
Please.
Let's bring it back, Carrie.
If you're going to bring it back, you're on your own, Dorothy. I am not going down that road. I've been there once already.
Like naturally, if I stand in the steam shower and then I get hairspray and I just like mess it all up, it gets huge, like Cher.
Really?
It's a pain in the butt.
I'm so envious. That would have saved me so much money and so much less time in my friend's mom's kitchen, huddled over the kitchen sink getting perms.
What was the best part of the 80s? I was born in 86, so I just remember Teddy Ruxpin.
Oh, my God. Well, I'm older than you, so my high school years were 86 to 90.
Oh, how fun.
So that 80s metal era, like that is my high school year. And it's really weird because I graduated from high school and when I started college, grunge hit. And so the soundtrack to my high school and the soundtrack to my college are diametrically opposed. And at those years, like your music soundtrack is everything. All of your memories are tied to the music you were listening to at the time.
But that's so cool. You got to experience two key points in music history.
Yeah. Really significant. That's why I was at Woodstock 94. That was the year I graduated from college. So I was there in the mud watching the Chili Peppers and Green Day and Nine Inch Nails and Aerosmith and Metallica. I talk about it all the time. Greatest concert I've ever been to, Woodstock 94, watching Peter Gabriel end the whole weekend. Flawless.
There's got to be a DVD of that, no?
Oh, yeah. Woodstock 94. It's amazing.
All right, I'll find it.
Most epic concert for you before I let you go. What was yours?
Most epic concert for me?
As a fan, not as an artist, but as a fan.
Oh, that's a tough one. Well, I've been to so many, but I can tell you my first concert was Blink-182.
Was it really?
I was Alien Ant Farm opening for them, and I was 16, and I was like, "What's that smell? That smells like duck." And someone's like, "That's weed." Man, I've been to so many, it's hard to say. The Creed shows have been killer, just freaking killer. There's so much pyro. They sound phenomenal. So that's definitely up there. I got to see Aerosmith in Vegas. That was great.
Oh, the Deuces Are Wild residency?
I don't remember. It's been several years.
Oh, okay.
But that was really good. Guns N' Roses was killer. So yeah, there's some good ones. There's some bucket lists. Oh, Metallica at recently, like a few years ago at a Bottle Rock Napa. I mean, it was my whole band. We opened, and then they all got to live their childhood dream and watch Metallica, and everybody had these shit-eating grins on their faces. It was just so much fun.
It is amazing that this many years later, Metallica is still, they were just here, sold out 2 dates at Gillette Stadium, just massive, that all these years later, they are selling out the same stadiums 30 years later.
So yeah, when people say rock is dead, they're just lying.
It's a whole new wave of rock right now. We were talking about it with women in rock, but just rock in general. This era, I think we're going to look back on as being just a really amazing moment in rock. There's so much creativity, the collaborations, the new artists, the great music from older artists that are back and making music again. It's awesome.
It is. And I'm not gonna go anywhere anytime soon. I don't have a plan B, so I'm hoping that what we put out, fans resonate with and love, and can't wait to see them at our shows when we tour.
Your chicken farmer idea is a hobby, not a plan B.
Exactly. It's a hobby. You gotta have healthy, drug-free activities when you're off tour.
It was so good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you so much for the time.
Of course. I can't wait to see you. And of course, the new album coming out by early 2025.
Yep. Soonish.
Soonish.
I promise.
I'll talk to you later, Dorothy. Thank you.
All right, bye, Carrie.
There she is. That's Dorothy. Her new song, Mud, is available everywhere. And if you check the links in the show notes of this episode, you'll find the link for this episode's corresponding playlist. I make a playlist for every full-length episode of the Mistress Carrie podcast that features all of my guest music and all the songs and artists that we referenced in the interview. You'll also find the link to her first appearance on episode 99 of the Mistress Carrie podcast. You'll find all of her links and all the Mistress Carrie links too. And if you liked what you heard, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast. And if you've got a Dorothy fan in your friends list, make sure you share this episode too. New full-length episodes come out every Wednesday, plus every weekday you get the sit rep. All your rock news, music headlines, and entertainment updates in about 5 minutes. You can join me live every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern for my weekly streaming video show, Cocktails in the War Room. It streams live on my official Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube channel. And of course, you can always find me on the radio. Get the details on all of that and more at mistresscarrie.com. The Mistress Carrie Podcast, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network.